All right, let's talk about something that so many of us in business get wrong. We're going to pull back the curtain and look at the real system, the actual engine that drives growth. Let's get right into it.
So when I say the words business system, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For a lot of people, it's probably stuff like checklists, standard operating procedures, SOPs, or maybe that shiny new software you just bought. Sound familiar? Well, if that's what you were thinking, you're in good company. But we got to rethink that. Because all those things, the checklists, the software, the documents, they aren't the system, not even close. They're just tools. So let's start by getting really clear on what a system isn't. All those things we just mentioned, they're just components. Think of them as parts of a machine, but they are not the machine itself.
So what is a real system then? This is where we need to make a little mental shift. A real system isn't a static thing, like a document in a folder. It's a dynamic machine. And its entire reason for existing is to produce a specific result, reliably, over and over again.
Okay, so if our business is a machine, what's it actually made of? Well, it turns out that every real system, whether it's in your company or out in nature, is built from the exact same 4 essential parts. Here they are. First, you've got your inputs. That's your leads, your raw materials, a new client project. Then you have the processes. That's what you do to those inputs. That gives you the outputs, the sale, the finished product, a happy customer. And then the fourth and honestly the most important part, the feedback loop. And get this, if you're missing even one of these 4 pieces, you don't actually have a system. You just have a bunch of disconnected tasks. And that last piece, that feedback loop, brings us to the single biggest failure point. It's the exact spot where most businesses get stuck and stop growing. It almost always comes down to a broken feedback loop. The source material really hits the nail on the head here. Without feedback, systems stagnate. With feedback, systems get smarter. I mean, think about that for a second. A system without feedback is basically flying blind. It has no way to learn, no way to improve. The feedback is what gives the machine its intelligence. And what's really crucial here is that there are 2 types of feedback, and you need both. On one hand, you have data-driven feedback. That's your numbers, your metrics, your scorecards. That tells you what is happening. But that's not enough. You also need direct human feedback from your clients and your team. That's what tells you why it's happening. One gives you the facts, the other gives you the feeling. You need both to see the whole picture. Okay, to make this all super tangible, let's use a really powerful analogy. I want you to imagine your entire business, from start to finish, as one long pipe. At the very beginning of this pipe, you have a tap. That tap is your marketing. Its only job is to turn on the flow of water, or, in our case, the flow of leads, into the business. The pipe itself, that's the rest of your business. It's your sales process, your operations team, your delivery, your finance department. Their job is to keep that water flowing smoothly all the way through, turning that initial lead into a happy, paying customer at the other end. So what happens when things get clogged up? Well, that's a bottleneck. In our pipe analogy, a bottleneck is literally a blockage. It's a kink in the hose that's slowing everything down, no matter how much water you're trying to force through it. So here's the big question. If you have a major blockage in your pipe, is the right move to go back to the marketing tap and crank it wide open? Of course not. That's insane, right? All you're going to do is make a huge mess and cause a flood right where the blockage is. The only logical thing to do is to fix the blockage first. This simple idea brings us to the final and really the most practical part of all this. We've defined the machine, we've found the most common breaking point, and we've got this great visual of the pipe. So, what do we actually do about it? Well, the good news is the solution isn't some super complex 1,000-point plan. It's actually a really elegant and simple loop that you can run over and over again to drive constant improvement and real growth. It's a 4-step cycle, and it goes like this. Step 1, map. You have to actually see and understand what your pipe looks like. Step 2, measure. Use those feedback loops, both the data and the human stories, to find out where the pressure is building. Find the weak spot. Step 3, fix. Put all your energy into clearing that one main bottleneck. And only after the pipe is flowing smoothly again do you move to step 4, grow. Now you can go turn up that marketing tap. And here's the absolute key to the whole thing. This is not a one-time fix. Growth is a continuous process. As soon as you fix one bottleneck and grow, a new one will pop up somewhere else. That's just how it works. So your job is to simply run this cycle again and again. Map, measure, fix, and grow. And that leaves us with one final and really important question for you to think about. Looking at your own business through this lens, forget about getting more leads for a minute. Just be honest with yourself. What's the biggest blockage in your pipe right now? Because if you can find that, you've just found the key to your next level of growth.